our time is our life. And where we invest that time is so critical. We need to look at that ideal form of life we want. What are we doing in our family and friend relationships? Is it effective? Are we communicating well? Our occupation, work and wealth, as we've so talked about, yes, it's critical, because if you don't got money, you've got nothing, basically. You need it to survive in today's world. But you can't forget the health and wellness. You got to take care of your body, because if you don't take care of that, your mind goes for shit. And now you're doing the other two things poorly. And it all builds on what those rocks, those chunks of our life are. So, do you believe that we can create our ideal form of life in this season, regardless of what challenges we're all facing? What advice are you going to give people that in this season, they can believe they can create their ideal form of life?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question. The quick answer is yes. It's always, you can always make opportunity from challenges. You've alluded to that. There's huge challenges today. There's been very creative people that turning those around and making opportunities. So there's never a bad time to start a new idea, start a business. But I would temper that with saying that in times like this, say, in keeping in the scope of, say, business, one would have to be very careful in saying, this is the time I'm going to start a new business. I mean, just that's, you call it common sense, you call it whatever, depending on what the type of business is. So you'd have to be aware of what's going on in the world and make sure that the business idea that you may have started before, current events unfolded is still applicable. But I call that common sense. It's always, notwithstanding that, there's always opportunity out there for people to do stuff, and the opportunity is probably in some ways greater than it was before when things were relatively stable, because everything's up in the air. The normal processes are some of them aren't valid anymore as far as how people are functioning in life. There's opportunity out of the chaos, and it's not always easy to figure out what those opportunities are. And one thing you learn is people are they're very clever. So no matter what you try and do in life, there's going to be other people that are going to try and do it better. And it's the competitive aspect of our species, and it's a good thing, but it's good to go in eyes wide open. Nothing is easy. And if it seems easy, it's probably a person hasn't done their research. It doesn't mean you don't do it. And the cream rises to the top, etc. Hard work gets you there, but a bit of luck helps. Sometimes it's just dumb luck. In my career, I'm pretty sure it was in many occasions. So there's opportunity there for sure. You just have to figure it out, and that's the fun part. It is a game. Nobody knows, but what are the opportunities of having things the way they are now? Like how many restaurants do you think are going to survive, for example? There's going to be a lot, but the model will probably have to change. That's an opportunity. How many nightclubs do you think are going to survive? They're talking 2 years. So I don't know. The world needs nightclubs. That's a community service, if you want to call it that. But it's a business, and the world needs nightclubs. But that is going to change. And I don't know the answers. I haven't put any thought into it. Even if I did, I wouldn't necessarily know the answers. But somebody clever will figure out how to solve that gap that the current problems in our world today are probably going to cause. There's all sorts of them, and it all gets back to how long are these regulations going to stay in place. But if it's not COVID, it'll be something else. 10 years ago, it was the financial world blowing up. So people are clever. They will always figure out how to come up with opportunity in a changing world, even if the changes seem to be catastrophic. You take a deep breath, you sit back, and you figure it out. And the other thing I tell some of the young people is back to the season thing, is you're going to have bad days, and just sleep on it. I've been fortunate in my career. I can't remember having what I would consider a bad day. My definition of a bad day is pretty bad. I've had some bad days just in the scope of business we're doing. You get it. It's just the way it is. But I can honestly say I rarely get 2 in a row. I don't know. It's very, very fortunate to be able to say that, but sleep on it. Tomorrow's a new day, and and we're clever people in general. We'll figure it out. But there's opportunities, and it might even, it's okay too to not know what those opportunities are. You just watch the world unfold and see how it goes. But there will be clever people that figure stuff out, and there'll be, I'm sure, some real head scratcher, awesome ideas that come out of the chaos that everybody's seeing right now. There'll be some really clever people come up with some unbelievable ideas. And a lot of these offices or businesses you see go dark and go out of business, there'll be some new businesses pop up and take their place. Life goes on. It's a strange world.
Bob, what would you say is your final answer to that question?
Just building on what Ken said, it seems to me when things change, people's needs change, and that's at the end of the day, that's what business is. Business is just meeting a series of needs and providing the services and or the products for people's needs. So in my business, where we were kind of chugging on all cylinders there for 4 or 5 years, they just had, people were buying 1, 2, or 3 products, right? Just like clockwork. But that's all changed in my business because their needs changed. And a lot of things impact that sort of thing. So I think by figuring out what the new needs are, then we can, alter our services, create new services, innovate different solutions to meet those needs. Yeah. So for those of you thinking about starting new careers, going in a new direction, might be based on those realities. What are the new needs? Yeah. Government needs, community needs, and or just people needs.
Yeah, no, that's well said, Bob. Yeah. The thing I would maybe add to that too, Heath, is everybody has to realize that their business models still might make sense right now, but the world has been whacked. Businesses have been whacked. Everybody is cost conscious, cutting back. So some businesses are perfectly fine the way they are. They just have to be patient and wait, and the world will resume to some form of normal. Businesses will start spending on things they typically have in the previous years, and life will go on. So I think it's prudent for people to not throw out business models that were working in January that may not look so good now, because at the end of the day, what's changed? Yes, there's been some change, but the services and needs of some of the businesses, most of the businesses, are probably fairly similar to what they were. It's just a question of businesses being patient and waiting for the world to recover and start spending money again. And in the meantime, you take a breather and enjoy life.